So Jackie, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to solve quadratic equations, okay? Now, most of the time, this isn't a step. It's just like something that happens, okay? You're going to have 2, 1, or 0 possible solutions. That's how many solutions you're going to have to these kind of things. Is it 2, 1, or 0? Alex, we're not going to do that in this class yet, but check this out. These quadratic equations, they make a shape that's called a parabola. And when we're solving, what we're actually doing is we're finding a place where our graph was going to cross the x-axis. These are called the solutions.
Oh, man.
They're also called roots. They're also called zeros. That's what we're finding. Yeah. We're not going to graph them right now, but that's where it's leading to, right? So you could have 2, 1, or 0 solutions, because you could have 2, which would look kind of like that. Or you could have one solution, and the one solution, it would look like this. It would just barely touch the x-axis. That's one solution. Or you could have no solutions. I'm going to do it on the same graph. I'm going to do it in orange. No solutions would look like something like this, where it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. So those are possible situations you're going to run into. So Rachel, the only reason I mention that is because if you're working on this and you end up with one answer, don't freak out. It's normal. It can happen. If you end up with 2 answers, that can happen too. The 0 one is kind of strange. And I don't think we're actually going to see any of those today, because today everything we're going to handle is factorable. Okay? Everything we're going to handle today is going to be factorable. Now let's see here. If I remember right, Priscilla, last time, did we talk about, like, if I have 2 numbers and I multiply them together, if the answer is 0, then that means that either this one equals 0 or that one equals 0. Is that right? Carlos, that makes sense? If I have a number here in my left hand, I have another number here in my right hand, I don't know what they are, but if I multiply them and the answer is 0, well, one of them has to be 0. Because that's the only way you can get an answer of 0 when you multiply, is if one of the numbers is 0. Right? Okay, so Alex, when you're talking about a quadratic equation, sometimes you have something like this. That's factored, right? That's factored. Well, that's really 2 numbers. This is one number right here, like A, and this is one number here, like B, and they're multiplying and they equal 0. So what we do, after we factor, what we do is we take each of those factors and you set them equal to 0, and you solve them both. Just like that. So here's our steps. Ready, M&M? Our first step is we're going to factor it. But this example, I already factored it for you because, well, it's almost Christmas time. Merry Christmas, Alex. Merry Christmas. It's almost Christmas time. All right, Alex. So your first step is you're going to factor it. And that's going to look like this right here. Okay? So that's going to look like this would be what it looks like, right? And then your second step is you've set each factor equal to 0. And that's what we did right here. Yeah? Sonia, you good with what we had with what happened? Mm-hmm. Okay, now the third step. Oh, well, my pen doesn't work. Alex, it's not working. I'm sorry. All right, Alex. M&M, our third step. You solve each equation. It's like you have 2 problems to solve. So we solve this one, and we solve that one. You know you're going to use SADMAP, right? Or you could use the box method. Remember I showed you guys that one? So like this one right here, if we're going to use the box method, right? This says what minus 5 is 0. So what does this thing right here have to equal? 5, right? Because 5 minus 5 is 0. So this equals 5. Okay, and then just divide, right? X equals 5 over 3. That's one answer. It's a fraction, Sam, but that's okay. Fractions are your friend. This one just subtract 2, right? X is equal to negative 2. So those are your two answers right there. Answer 1 and answer 2. That's it. Jackie, what seems difficult about this?
Wait, but we're not graphing them?
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. So Eminem, so far, okay, look, you know how to factor. Sometimes it gets tricky, right? But you know how to factor. Okay, and then solving things like this is pretty easy. You guys, I don't think you'll mess up with that. They're either going to be one step like this or two steps like that. They're always going to be the same, Sam. You're always going to either add or subtract. You're going to do the opposite of that number right there. And then if you had another number, then you would, second, you would divide by the number in front of the x. That's it, every single time. So you would add this to the other side, which is what we do, right? And then you would divide by 3, and then you're done. Sam, what seems hard about this? Nothing. I don't think so. I think the hard thing can be the factoring, but that's mostly, unfortunately, that's actually mostly emotional. Because you start doing it, you get frustrated. Or you start thinking, I'm dumb, my mom was right about me, I'm not going to be any good, right? Or something like that, and yeah, it just goes bad. So you just have to have confidence to factor, right? Yeah. Okay. Should we try some, Eminem? Sure? Okay. Now sometimes there's a step before the factoring. We'll get to that in just a minute. Do you want to do one together? Let's do this one. Let's do 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals 0. And so what we're going to do is we're going to solve this. Solve por x. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Let's see, we have to factor first, right, Rachel? Okay, Rachel, here's our checklist, or our cheat sheet, right? First thing first, can we take out something out of everything? Take out a constant means. Take something out of everything. Nope. There's not an x in everything, and these don't have common factors, so nope. Okay, a is 1. No. Dang. If a was 1, we would look for two numbers that multiply to 3 and add to 5, but a is not 1, so we have to do, if a is not 1, we have to use guess and check. That's right. Guess and check. Well, there's still one thing that's true for both of them, and that is if this sign is negative, then our answers, our factors, have different signs. That's the trickiest. But, you use FOIL to guess and check, right? So, the thing we guess are the first, which would mean what number goes here and what number goes here that could possibly multiply to that. Well, that's only going to be 2x and x. There's no other chance. And then we also guess with the last. So what number goes here and here that multiplies to 3? Has to be 3 and 1, or it could be 1 and 3. So really, like Eminem, normally I wouldn't write them out, both of them, but these are our only two guesses. This is either 1 and this is 3, or this is 3 and this is 1. Those are the only possible guesses. There's no more. So this is what you check. You check the oi. And you see I'm saving the signs to the end because I don't know what they are. I don't know they're different. That's all I know. So here the outside is 6 and the inside is 1. And I'm subtracting because they're different. So the difference of 6 and 1 is 5, and that's what I want. So that's right. Wait, this is confusing because look at this one. 2x and 3x. But you got to remember, we're not adding, we're subtracting because that's a negative. So this is 1x, it's not 5x. This one's 5x. Yeah? Man, that one's tricky. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright. So then the trick is, this isn't it. This is it. We have to figure out which one's positive, which one's negative. See, the 5 is negative, right? So that means that I would want it like this. And the 6 came from 2 times 3. So there we go. So our factors, I'm going to write them here so they're more neat. Whoa. Whoa. Sounds like a lawnmower. Is that yours, Eminem? Mm-hmm. No? Okay. Not this time? Not this time? Okay. I know, like you got a lot of responsibilities. I mean, I know that Donald Trump is always calling you to figure out what to do with those Russians. Can't trust the Russians. Okay. So that's step 1. That's where you're going to spend most of your time. Step 1 is, and if step 1's wrong, the rest of it's just going to fall apart. But Rachel, you're good at this step 1. Even though this one was tricky, you're good at this. They won't always be this tricky. Most of them are going to be easier. But a handful will be more difficult. Okay, Alex, that's step 1. Step 2, set each factor equal to 0. Ooh, I can handle that. I have 2 factors. There's one factor. I'm going to set that equal to 0. There's the other factor. I'm going to set that equal to 0. Oh, I forgot what to do next. Crap. Oh, I took notes. How handy. Solve each equation. Oh, I can do that, Jackie. Jackie, you look sad.
No, I'm good.
You don't? Okay.
I'm good.
Subtract 1, divide by 2, x equals negativo 1/2. And over here, you're just going to add 3 to both sides, x equals 3. Those are, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, those are your 2 answers. You can handle that, right, Sonia? Yes, you can handle that, Sonia. Sonia, you've lost your mojo. Where's your confidence?
I have a mojo. I have confidence.
Really?
No, it's just that it's not there right now. I'm just processing the whole thing right now.
Okay. That's good. I like processing the whole thing. That's a good idea. Alex, you got the idea how to do this? Yeah? So Priscilla, you're going to factor it first, right? A whole bunch of things go involved with factoring, but we spent a lot of time on it. We probably spent more time on it than we should have. Sam, the reason we spent probably more time than we should have on factoring, I think it's still a good use of your time, is because it's super, super important. And it's a new skill. So we factor first, right? That's step 1, and then you take each factor, because we're going to have 2, and you set each factor equal to 0, and then you solve it. Solve each of those factors. And then you get your 2 answers, you're done. Yeah.
Are you going to test?
What's that?
Are you going to test us now?
No, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You ready? What if I asked you this? Can you solve that for x? Wait, what's a solution? Because, here's the problem. Sometimes we start learning some steps. Oh, steps. Wait, factor. Oh, steps for factoring. Sometimes when we learn steps, we forget about the big idea. If it said solve this, what does solve mean? What does finding a solution? No, not how. What is a solution, though? An answer. It's more than an answer. You forgot, Alex. Makes me sad.
A solution?
Yeah, what's a solution?
It's a picture of the
A graph is a picture of all of the solutions. But a solution, isn't a solution of value? Like for x, it would make this equal to 0? A solution is a value that makes a statement true. Like, for example, x minus 3 equals 0. Its solution is 3 because 3 minus 3 is 0. Remember, a solution is a value that makes a statement true. So if you're asked to solve this, you're being asked what number for x could I put here that would make this side equal 0? 0. Sometimes the steps aren't going to help you. You could do all kinds of steps. I can think of 3 steps you could try for this, and they might really confuse you. But if you just think about what is a solution, it's asking you 3 times what equals 0. That's what that says. 3 times what is 0. That's what it says, right? Well, 0. Yeah? Okay. All right, Sonia. You ready to try one? Man, you look excited too. Man, I don't know who's happier today, you or Jackie. Jackie said something that I know she lied. You said I'm fine. When a female says I'm fine,
That's like the biggest one.
Jackie,
Yeah.
you're gonna be okay. Okay, Jackie. Jackie, here's what I want you to do. I want you to solve for X. We're gonna do a couple of them, okay? So we'll do easy, medium, and weird. Easy, medium, weird. Notice I didn't say difficult or hard. It's just weird, okay? Easy. Medium. Bless you. Okay, and weird. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see the timer. It's 16:25. So here's what we're gonna do. Got 3 problems. Let's do 5. Let's do 6 minutes. So we'll come back at 23 minutes. Okay. Okay. Don't get distracted. Don't get stuck. Get yourself unstuck if you get distracted. Use your cheat sheet, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually trying.
Okay, but 2 times something cannot equal. Are you stuck on that part? 7 times that? And 2. So okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see it. I need to stop looking at the note.
How many of you guys got the first one of these? Yeah? Some of you don't have the first one?
I'm working.
Okay.
It's just supposed to end up being like it's
Right.
Say that again?
I'm sorry. This is supposed to be like the parentheses be two X's, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have two answers.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For number one, right?
So it's
Were you busy on Black Friday?
yeah.
Yeah? You know what I did on Black Friday?
What?
Black Friday I smoked a brisket.
You what?
It took 13 hours.
Smoke a brisket.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
I ruined my friend's lunch today
Why?
because I brought some leftover brisket and I gave him like 2 pieces and he ate it and then he didn't want to eat lunch.
That's good.
It was lit. I don't mess around when it comes to cooking ads.
Sick anybody? The other day, Mr. Bear,
Mm-hmm.
how was that? That was at Hilda's. And I
Oh,
saw
uh-huh.
Mr. And I saw Mr. Reynolds there.
At Hilda's?
Yeah.
Here in Rio Rico? Or yeah? Huh.
It was weird.
Yeah, it's
It wasn't weird. It was
Yeah.
party with my freshman teacher.
That's right. I was your freshman teacher.
Yeah, but he was from my summer school.
He was what?
He was my summer school teacher.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy.
Increíble.
Yeah.
I thought he lived in like Sabarita or something.
He comes down there.
Oh.
Down to the next one.
Slumming, huh?
Yeah.
Down in the dirty Rio
Yeah, it's 'cause like my sister works there. She's a bartender.
at Hilda's?
Uh-huh. And like I don't remember like when I went to a drink. I think I went to a drop for options. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. That's weird. You're getting old, Alex.
Yeah, it's cool.
Vanessa's like, I got this. Stay calm.
Yeah.
Right?
Trying to hold the last piece of my sanity.
Oh, just give it up. It's okay. It's such a short trip to go crazy. Some of us are already there, right, Priscilla?
What was that?
Some of us are already. Some of us are already there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Sam, did you get the second one?
No, I'm still figuring it out.
You have to do the guess and check on that one, right?
Yeah.
Sam, you guys lost your mojo over the.
It was the turkey.
It's so sleepy.
I don't think. Oh man,
I
that.
ate so much on Thanksgiving, I wanted to fall asleep like right after. I was like that turkey that I was fucked. Okay, I kind of got that, but it's the number 6.
I saw your series.
I was thinking of doing that. I got the sign.
Well, in all fairness, Eminem, that one really made me slow down and think because that was kind of tricky. So don't. Yeah, that one's tricky.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
I hate that song.
Huh?
I hate that song. I hear it all the time.
It's a trippy song.
It is a tricky song.
Gucci gang, my little pump.
Never heard
You
it.
get the sign wrong, then the rest of it.
It falls apart, right?
I was gonna stop.
It falls apart if the sign is wrong, doesn't it? Okay.
I miss it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how you're doing. Look, let's talk about our upcoming quiz here. Sonia, check this out, Sonia. This problem right here would probably be only worth 2 points.
Okay.
All right. So it'd be probably 1 point for the factors and 1 point for your answers. Okay. So that means if you got these signs wrong, you lost half credit. Can't mess those signs up. Can't mess them up. This one right here, the factor's trickier. So this probably be worth 3 total points. It would be 2 points for this, and then 1 point total for these things here. That would probably be a 3-point problem. That's a little trickier. Yeah. Now this one's guess and check. I mean, there's no help I can offer. There are other methods. But, man, and we did talk about some of them, but really the best way is you just guess what can go here and here, and you guess. So, sorry, let me back up. Yeah. You have to figure out, you have to guess what two numbers that could go here and here that multiply to make that, right? And then you guess what numbers go at the end that multiply to this, and then you check the outside and the inside and see if they make that. I mean, you know how to do it, and a week ago you guys were good at it. Like you were good at it a week ago. You didn't practice. You're supposed to practice every day. You didn't practice. Dang. But that's okay. We can recover this. Because if you knew it before, you can know again. Yeah. But you might have to do some extra studying and reviewing on how the factoring goes. Okay. This one's not hard. This one's actually easier than the other two, but it's weird. It's weird. It's not difficult, because remember, it was easy, medium, and weird. Now, it's not Alex weird. It's just a little weird. Yeah.
That makes me feel a little bit better.
Makes you feel a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I won't be freaking out.
Yeah, check this one out. You just need some experience with this kind. You remember our factoring cheat sheet? Like our things to check for factoring? Remember the first thing you want to see is, can you take out a constant? Is there something in all of the terms that you can remove? Well, here there is. There's an x. You can take out an x and then you're left with this. Do you see? M&M, now we have two factors that are multiplying. We have a number here and a number there. This number right here is multiplying with that number right there. Sam, this and this are multiplying, and the answer is 0, so either this one equals 0 or this one equals 0. So you got to solve them both. That one's already done. This one. There's your two answers. This one's not difficult, it's just weird, because there's no C. Yeah.
So why didn't we have like factoring tips with that?
Wait, what?
Like, you know how on our cheat sheet we had things for everything.
We did.
Although just that, the constant?
That's it.
Oh.
That's the first thing you check. Always and forever. Amen.
Do we leave it like that? 5 over 2?
These, yeah, you can put 2.5 if you want, or 2.5 if you want, but you can leave it 5 over 2. Not 5.2, 2.5. All right. Sonia, or Vanessa, actually, they're all of the factoring is going to be one of these three things, except for factor by grouping. Okay, now, maybe we should try a factor by grouping, right?
Yeah, we should.
All right, that's a good idea. Now that you mention it, right?
Yeah.
Now that you mention factor by grouping, because remember, you see 4 terms. This is our cheat sheet for factoring. If you got 4 terms, you can do factor by grouping. That's the one where if there's a minus in the middle, you have to be careful.
Yeah, or plus.
Right. You have to make sure you change it to plus. So, let me see. Let me come up with one right here. Oh, let's see. What if we did 3x squared? Let's see. Let's do plus 12x minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. What if we did that?
Does it become negative 2?
There's a couple ways you could do it. But if there's 4 terms, I would do factor by grouping, because it's not that difficult. You might have forgotten how to do it. Rachel, do you remember how to do this, or do you not remember how to do this? Kind of remember. Oh. So it would be better if you could look in your notes and then remember than me tell you, because if I tell you, you're probably going to forget again. But if you can remember by looking in your notes, then That's probably going to really help you on Thursday. See if you can find how to do that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll give you guys a couple minutes so you can figure that out. Math gangsters in the hallway.
I can't remember. Oh wait, four terms factor by grouping. Oh. Got it. I remember now. Thank goodness I put color in there.
Wait, let me see that again.
Oh, okay.
And then figure the middle out. Okay.
That helped. It was on the 21st, Sam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I did mix up.
I'm not sure I did mine, to be honest. Did you figure it out?
These two. I know.
No? Did you guys figure it out?
I found an example by the four terms factor.
Oh yeah, I got the answer, but I wanted to check if you guys got it.
I haven't gotten it, I'm still working on it. So I will let you know when I maybe get it.
That's four. This goes there, right?
Yeah,
This is the answer.
pero no tanto. Ah, ya, sí sé. Por eso no lo. I think I know.
Okay, Jackie. Did you figure out how to do it? No? Eminem, you figured it out, right? Sonia.
Yes, sir.
Hashtag Mira. Hashtag Mira. Washa. Now look, this one's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because of that sign.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we got to do,
Yeah.
like that, remember? And then you factor each group, because it's called factor by grouping. 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Factor by grouping. So here, take out a 3x. Right? And here, x más 4. Is that right? Okay. Now over here, it's a negative 2x and a negative 8. So I'm going to take out a negative 2, and I'm going to be left with x plus 4 again. The only thing that's a little different about this is it's equal to 0, and we're going to solve it. So we're going to factor it all the way first, M&M. So that's going to be 3x minus 2, and then x plus 4. And you guys were good at these too. You just forgot because we haven't practiced those so much. But now that we got the factoring, now we're going to take each factor, set each factor equal to 0, and solve both. So 3x minus 2, x plus 4. M&M's just full of smiles over there. Did you get this right, M&M?
Well, yes and no, because I tried to do the last step. Like I got the
Oh,
answer right, but I didn't.
you got the factors
Yes, but I didn't.
that you didn't solve.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't.
But you know, once you get the factors, that's the hard part. The factors are the hard part.
Well, I have,
Yeah.
but I just didn't.
Once you get the factors, it's downhill. Right, Rachel?
Yes.
Tired too? It's factoring. Yeah, it feels good.
But it's colder on that side.
Well, that's because Isak is cool. All right. Wow. He didn't even hear me. Hey, Carlos, what's going on over there?
The answer for -4 and 2 and 3?
Yes, ma'am. All right. So let's talk about sometimes you get something weird. So here's some things you got to be aware of, okay? A couple tips. So you know how your first step is to factor, right? Right? Sometimes you have to do some algebra before you can factor. So let's see here. Well, here's the first tip. You cannot solve using inverse operations like SADMAP, right? If you have x squared and x. So here's what I mean, Alex. Come on, Alex, we're almost done. Stay with us, buddy, because this is where it gets tricky. And I know for a fact, I have seen you do this very thing that I'm talking about right here, Alex. Look, if you have something, here's an example of what I mean. Is that color okay? Can you guys see that color? Okay. So here's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it'll say something like x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. And you have to solve it, right? What's your question, Sam? Sam, what's your question, Sam? Sam.
What?
Sam, I think you need to do a better job listening too. No, wait, listen. Because when I wrote it, I was saying it.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Sam. Sam, that's okay. It says you can't solve using inverse operations if you both have an x squared and an x. Yeah. Oh, where'd it go? My pen.
It's in your head.
Well, my other pen.
Oh.
Ah!
It's right there.
Okay. So Sam, the reason that the listening is okay, it's really hard to learn classes that you do if you rely solely on reading. You might be more of a learner by reading, but you have to balance with both. And that's not just you, it's everybody. Some people, they do not do a very good job with the looking, they do a good job with listening. And that's just as much of a problem. You have to do both. You have to get good at both. Okay, ready, Eminem? Eminem. This is wrong, okay? But this is what people try to do. They try to say, well, I have to solve for x, so let's add 4 to both sides, and this is what they do. And now they're stuck. Carlos is laughing because he does that. Right? You can't. It won't work. You will not be able to solve like this. There's 2 ways to solve when it's x squared with an x. And one is, well, there's 3. One is factoring, and the other, is, in a sense, is the quadratic formula. There's a formula you could use. Whoa. You hear that whistling?
Yeah.
Water boiling? Oh, it's Alex. He's thinking. Ah! Okay, Alex. Calm down, Alex. Alex, so you can't do that. If you see x squared and x, got to factor. Okay? So if you had something like this, so here's step 2. If your equation, I don't know how to say this, Sam, like it's mixed up. Like this one right here, it's not mixed up. But this one's mixed up. Do you know what I mean, Eminem? So if it's mixed up, we got to put it like that. So if your equation is mixed up, then you have to use inverse operations to make it ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Oh. I know, right, Rachel? Yeah. So Carlos, if you have something like that, you got to do some math to make it right. So let's see an example of that. Your book has a bunch of these. Let's say we had, oh my goodness. Let's say we had so here's an example. Let's say we had 4x squared equals 12x minus 9. Ooh. It's not equal to 0, right? We need to get it equal to 0 before we can even start. So before we can even start, you have to get everything on one side so it's equal to 0. So before you can start, you need it to be like that. This has to be like that. And then it's like, oh God, I'm just going to quit now. I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. Calm down, silly. We got this. We got this. Wait. Here's the thing. We want these two things to be on the same side as that, right? Well, if I want this to be equal to 0, if I want to get rid of these two things, how would I make 12x minus 9 equals 0? What could I add to it? Could I, if I wanted, could I subtract 12x and could I add 9? Because wouldn't that be 0 and this be 0? But if I do it to one side, I got to do the same thing to the other. Do you see? Huh. Sonia, I understand why that looks ugly. We always do algebra like that, but I don't like it. I want to show you, here, let me show you like maybe better. More betters. I'm going to show you more betters, okay? Check this out. This is what we got. We got 4x squared equals 12x minus 9, right? So what we need is we need this to be equal to 0. And we could add, like it's an equation, we could add anything we want to both sides, and it would still be equal. Like, would you agree that 7 equals 7? Mm-hmm. For sure, right? Okay. What if I multiply both sides by 2? Is it still equal? Why did I multiply both sides by 2? No reason. Just because. Could I add 5 to both sides if I wanted? It's still equal, right? Why did I add 5? Because I could. There's no mathematical reason I added 5. I just did it to both sides. So here, look, I can add anything I want as long as I do the same thing to both sides. But my thing I need this thing right here to be 0. So I have a 12x, so I want to subtract 12x. And I have a 9, negative 9, so I want to add 9. Because that would make, if I combine like terms, this would make 0. And this would make 0. But if I do that to one side, I got to do the same thing to the other.
Wasn't that what you did up top?
I did. But the thing with it on top is we write math across, and this is going up and down. And that gets kind of weird. So all we got to do is combine like terms. This whole thing over here, this whole thing is 0. And this thing right here, I'm going to put it in order. 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. And then you can factor. You know what makes me nervous about this, Sam? Makes me nervous that people are going to write down all this stuff in orange and black right there, but not understand why. When I was talking, because Sam, I would say that it's a really common thing for people that struggle in math that they don't listen well. To learn, they don't listen well. They write, they read, anything on the board they write down, but they don't listen to the explanation. And then they write it down, and later you look at it and you're like, huh? Well,
You said you put it on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So it could equal 0.
Well, we put it over here because it would be 0.
It would equal 0 because of the sign.
Yeah, that makes 0.
And
and this makes 0. But it's equal. So what you do to one side, if you want it to stay equal, you also have to do the same thing to the other. Like if you have 2 children, you want to be equal. You chopped one of their hands off, you got to chop off the other kid's hand too. Got to be, fair is fair, right? All right. Yep. I mean, if you want to be equal, and you go shopping for, like say you have a boy and a girl, and the girl's like 6 and the boy's like 15, and you want it to be equal, you go shopping for the girl, you buy her a 6-year-old tutu, you better buy the 15-year-old boy a 6-year-old tutu also. Fair is fair, same. Yep.
That's what I heard.
You're doing fantastic. I think you're getting your mojo back. Because look, you were all frowns for the first hour of class. And now you have that smile thing going on over there. Huh?
I have to process.
I agree, I understand, but you were processing stuff you forgot from last time.
Well, let me tell you that I did do stuff during the...
Okay, I believe you.
No, really, I did.
Carlos apparently doesn't. But Carlos doesn't even know when we're talking about him.
I would take Sam and say, Sam, I've been doing this. Right, Sam?
I believe you.
I mean, wasn't all day doing it, but I did take time to look at it and...
I believe you.
I need to remember. You're already doing techniques for anxiety for a test?
Hey, let's try this. This is the tricky kind, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you try to see if you can factor that one. See if you can go ahead and solve it. Like we started off with this, and I didn't write the instructions, but let's say it said solve. So why don't you try that? And of course I believe you, Sonia. If you tell me, I believe you. You haven't given me a reason not to believe you. Where were you last time, Jackie?
Hospital.
Hospital?
Yeah. I had a patient, but...
She's the only person that works in the hospital.
No, but I mean, it's because I had all of this information. In Ciudad Because I was there in the morning and I had to
Okay,
mark
Jackie.
and file everything.
Okay, Jackie. Let's do this. Come on, Jackie.
Yeah.
You sound so responsible.
Don't let me down, Jackie. I know, right? Come on, Jackie. I believe in you. Sam looks sad now, though. Are you sad, Sam?
No.
No, that's good, because Vanessa's going to have to punch you until you're happy.
No, I'm the one who's sad.
Why are you sad, Vanessa?
I'm trying to get this.
Vanessa, this one's tricky.
It is tricky.
So look, I'm not going to help you with it, but I just want to help you get your an idea, okay? So when I looked at this one, right, the reason this is tricky is because this could be 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. And this could be 9 and 1 or 3 and 3. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what makes this tricky.
Yeah.
Because you know how you're going to have so it could be 2 and 2.
Or 3 and 3.
And the first one could be 4 and 1. And then the second one could be 3 and 3, or it could be 9 and 1, or it could be 1 and 9.
Yeah.
And this could be 3 and 3, or it could be 1 and 9, or it could be 9 and 1. There are a lot of guesses.
There is.
So the thing is, you just gotta be patient with yourself and know if you go through all the guesses and you can't get it, then it's not there. Then it's not possible.
So you did all that for nothing.
So then you did it all for nothing? Well, you know you're gonna die at the end of your life. Is it all for nothing?
No, but I know it's different.
No, it's not all for nothing, but sometimes the answer is not factorable, and the only way you know is if you try all the possibilities. But if this one said solve by factoring, then it's going to be factorable. Do you know what I mean, Jackie? One of these is going to work. And I'll make you guys a deal. It won't always be the case, but on your quiz on Thursday, everything will be factorable. There's not going to be anything that's not factorable. Everything. All of it. Yes. I don't promise. Because if you don't believe me when I tell you, then my word's no good. And what good is a promise from somebody you don't trust?
Okay, that's cool. You're gonna do that.
Yes. And the thing you have to trust is that if I mess that up, that I would make it right. Because it's possible that I would mess up and forget and put one on there, but then if I totally forgot and you reminded me, I'd fix it. Right, Alex?
Yeah.
Except for Eminem, I'm going to give her a special test.
What?
Oh yeah, everything's going to be super impossible. She didn't bring me any turkey. Yeah, I did too. Did you get it, Sam? Wait, hope is the last bastion of the desperate.
Alright, so this is what I need to ask you. What do we just study and factoring, that's it?
If you can do the factoring,
Give us some stuff so we can
if you can do the factoring, then you can do the rest. Because the rest is, after you get the factors, that's the hard part.
Are you gonna give us those of the ones with the two, the quadratic, or what is it?
With these?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are those gonna be in the test?
Yeah. Like this one right here, you're going to have a problem with
No,
safe.
wait, but the one that has a two, that you have to have a.
The x equals this,
Yeah.
x equals that.
That's what we're going to do
That
here.
one that we just- Oh, that one?
Yeah. You're going to factor it, and you're going to set each factor equal to 0, and then you're going to solve each factor. Yeah. But the factoring's the hard part. The rest of it's not so difficult.
The factoring.
The factoring's the thing that's tricky. And that's why we spent so much time on it. That's why we had a take-home quiz. That's why I think we spent like 3, maybe 4 classes. Because it's really, really important. So there's stuff we're not getting to that we should. Yeah, there's stuff that we should do, but we're not going to be able to because we spent time on factoring. But if you can do the factoring, then the rest you'll be able to get caught up on.
Yeah.
But if we rushed through and you didn't know the factoring, you won't be able to get caught up on anything.
We'll be stuck.
Yeah. So we had to make a decision. Or we could have had class on Thanksgiving.
No.
Stupid.
No.
That would be horrible.
True.
That would be not fair. I wouldn't do that. If somebody told me I had to have class on Thanksgiving, I would quit over that. I'd say, no, I'm not doing class on Thanksgiving. I wouldn't even be mad. It would be such a no-brainer. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing class on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find a new teacher. I wouldn't even be mad about it. I'd just be like, yeah, that's ridiculous. So did you get it?
Yes, I'm gonna.
Well, no, this one. Did you finish it?
Oh, no.
Did you get it, Eminem?
I got it.
Well. Oh, I know what it is. I see it. Vanessa, I see it. Can I show you how I see it? I'll try. I'll try to do my best. I see the answer. Like this is 12, right? Well, look, you know that this is going to be 2 and 2 or 4 and 1, right?
Right.
And this is going to be 3 and 3 or 9 and 1, right? If it's 2 and 2 and the other one's 3 and 3, that makes 6 and 6, which adds to 12. That's it, right there. Now I just got to get my signs right. They're negative. Those are the 2 factors. Those are my factors right there. It didn't turn out that bad after all. Yep. Now you see how they're the same? Well, that means you're going to have the same answer. So x is equal to positive 3 over 2. Because this one's the same, like it's the same. It's twice. So, Priscilla, do you remember at the beginning we were talking about... Hold on, let me find it. Oh, yeah. Do you remember how I told you there's going to be 2 or 1 or no answers? Remember? This is an example of one answer. That's one answer. That's one answer. It's 3 over 2. It's the same. Rachel, you don't look... It looks like you lost your mojo too, Rachel. Well, here's the thing. There's no way to get this from looking at it. Like, it's not really The steps are in your head. The steps are, you guess combinations of numbers that will give you that back. Yeah. Okay.
And then, like on the other ones,
Yeah.
the two solutions, when they're like different answers.
That's right.
That's two.
2. Okay. So look, in your book, chapter 4.3, that's page. So you two, I know you're working, but listen real quick. Listen real quick. Priscilla and Jackie, listen real quick, because we're almost done. I know you guys are working, and that's cool. I gave you time to finish that. But watch. This is the stuff you should practice on page 292, right? The stuff, like if you can do these things on your quiz, like on page 292, if you can do any of those problems from 1 to 30, then you can do anything on our quiz. Because our quiz is just going to be factoring and solving. That's it. So factoring things like x squared minus 25, or 3x squared minus, 2x minus 1, or solving things like x squared minus 25 equals 0, or yeah.
When it's factoring, it's not equal to 0, right?
Yeah, so the difference. When you're factoring, you're just figuring out what multiplies to these.
Yeah, just the.
When you're solving, you find those factors first, and then you solve each of those factors equal to 0.
Which is at the end x equals something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing. If this was set equal to 0, right? This is the last thing I want to just remind you of. And we did this like a week ago. If this is equal to 0, you can do this. Right? I would suggest not even writing this down yet. Just listen, because here's the idea. It's an idea. It's not a step. Look, if you had two factors and they equaled 0, then this would work. Because if this equaled 0, it wouldn't matter what that number is, because 0 times anything is 0, right? But if it was something like this, and it equaled 1, this would not work. Because there's lots of things that can multiply together and equal 1. This trick only works for equal to 0.
So what happens if we get something like that?
Yeah. If you have something like this, then you got some work to do.
Are we gonna get stuff like that on our quiz?
So, well, watch. Hold on. Here's what you need. Before you could solve something like that, you would need to have it equal to 0. So you would have to multiply this together and then subtract 1 and then see if you could factor it. Yeah.
Wait, what?
You would have to multiply these together, right? Multiply. You remember multiplication, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Multiply. FOIL, right? So like if I multiplied those together, right, that would give me 3x squared, and then let's see, 15 minus 2 is 13, right? Minus 10 equals 1, and I would subtract 1. So this one is not going to be factorable, but I just made it up. And you would see if you could factor that. You would have to change this into this before you could start. If it's not equal to 0, you can't do anything yet. That's what we were talking about with this right here. If it's not equal to 0, you can't start factoring yet. You have to get it equal to 0 first. Otherwise you get stuck. Always and forever, amen.
Is there gonna be ones that are equal to 1 and I messed up?
Probably. They would probably be easier than this though. But I mean, we practice one of those right now. Like that's what we did right here. 4x squared equals 12x minus 9. We had to get everything equal to 0 first.
You gotta get everything to one side.
Right. Yeah, first. Get everything to one side first, and then you can factor. And you guys got to get your mojo back. You got to have your confidence. You know how you're going to get your confidence back, Sam? Sam, the way you're going to get your confidence back is you're going to practice problems. You're going to check your answer in the back of the book, see if you got it right. That's how you're going to get your confidence back. That's the only way. You're going to get your confidence through success. And so if you get it wrong, you're going to like circle the problem and try it again later when you forgot the answer. Because don't trick yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen.